Thank the Force. We are live here on Star Wars Newsnet Live. It is Thursday night, 10 o'clock Eastern Time. My name is Tyler, joined, as always, by my good friend, Mr. Tom. How are we doing this evening, Mr. Tom? We have Star Wars Galactic Racer to talk about. We have Jar Jar Binks content out there. And the main topic of the night. Where's the hype for the Mandalorian and Grogu? That is what we are discussing, and much, much more is going to be quite the evening. Welcome to Star Wars Newsnet Live, everyone. Tom, how are we doing?
We're doing great. We're doing great. Happy to be here. Tyler, talking about Star Wars. It's always a blessing when we can do that on a Thursday night.
Always a blessing indeed. And I don't have work tomorrow, so that's great. I got a 4 a.m. flight, but I will take that a lot of times over work. But here we go. There are so many things going on in the Star Wars universe. It feels like we are in this special phase because I would say several months, leading at the end of 2025 into early 26, it was kind of, what are we going to talk about, until Mandalorian and Grogu. And then we get all of the Dave Filoni, stuff that's going on with Kathleen Kennedy stepping down. We have this incredible, interesting, divisive spot from the Super Bowl for the Mandalorian and Grogu that we're going to talk about going into their topic. We have Star Wars video game trailer that just dropped like not that long ago, gameplay trailer for Star Wars Galactic Racer. So it's going to be a fun time here. And this is going to be just, I think, a sweet spot for Star Wars for the next couple of years, given the shows that are coming out with Maul. We have Mando, we have Ahsoka, we have Starfighter next year, it's 50th year celebration. I just feel like this is going to be a nonstop, jam-packed next year and a half.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I mean, there's a lot of content coming. So we have a lot on the horizon, and who knows what will be announced next year at Celebration.
Oh my goodness, who knows? So let's go ahead. Let's talk about the trailer that just dropped. Unless you have anything, on your, hearts that you would like to share or talk about.
So were you talking about the Mandalorian trailer or the
The gameplay. Sorry, we'll talk about the gameplay. No, the one that just dropped. Like actually, like this.
the actual trailer?
Instead of the, they heard that we wanted the hunt for Ben. So they delivered us the hunt for the greatest Ben in the Star Wars galaxy.
They didn't say which Ben.
He's back. He's back. Let's go. He's back. We've never been more back. I know you just watched it because I was finishing up the Jar Jar comic before the show while you were watching the Galactic Racer trailer. What did you think?
I think it looks amazing. I mean, we said that before. I says, is it too hard to ask for a game that's just, we want that feeling of a thrill ride, especially with something like this. I remember when the Phantom Menace came out, and just even the people that weren't so, I guess, on board with certain things in the film, everyone admitted that that was such a great sequence. It was fun to watch, fun to relive, and of course, then the famous video game that spawned from it was a blast, which I believe they even had when I visited. I had a friend that worked at Lucasfilm, and I visited, and they had actually the console there in their break room. So it was, yeah. So this looks amazing. This looks like a blast.
I'm going to take it a step further, Tom, as always. I'm going to push the envelope here. I don't think it is possible to trust someone who doesn't like the pod racing scene from the Phantom Menace. Like if you just don't, I get if you don't like the Phantom Menace, whatever. But if you don't like pod racing, like, can I really trust you? Like, can you be a good person and not like pod racing? And come on, like it is so great. Like, can you be nice and a thought-provoking person that I can trust? If you don't like the pod racing scene from Phantom Menace, and now even further, can I really trust you if you don't love and appreciate Bing Quadraneros? Like, come on, Tom, like answer that question for me. Is it even possible?
Yeah, that's a hard pass if they're not those things.
So it looks awesome. I loved how the trailer jumped to a lot of locations that we were familiar with,
Yes.
but also some places I'm sure are brand new, like for the game. Maybe some places that are from like the old game. They've just kind of remastered, updated, those locations, and then some new planets. I hope as well. But here we have, Ben Quaternaros looks like we're back on Tatooine, and then the best part about this shot is the pod racer right behind him in the corner. And we all know who that is because that's the other king that is back. And here's like a blurry image, but of Sebulba's pod racer that is making its way on the track. But it looks like you're gonna be able to, either play against these characters or play as these characters. I would love to be able to be Ben Quadraneros in a pod racer and go through some circuit with him or go against him on the battlefield of the pod racing sphere. But I don't know. This looks like just a really chill, fun game that you could sit back and you don't have to put a lot of thought into. It's a Thursday night. You just want a little brain break before you finish off the week the next day. And right after you hop off Star Wars Newsnet Live, you're like, let me just go run a quick Mos Espa circuit here with my boy Ben before we get started on Friday.
Yeah. So when does the game release?
That's a great question. Sometime this year, I know. I don't know. I don't remember if they put a date out there or not. I honestly can't remember. They might have in the trailer. It just dropped, or that this could have been news that I forgot about. But I do know it comes out this year, and I'm not sure on the release date. But I need to get a PS5. I just got to find a way to get a PS5. I have there's so many video games that I would like to dive into, and now that I finish, I graduate from my master's program, and this will be the first time, Tom. This is actually crazy. This will be the first time, next year will be my 5th year teaching. It'll be my first time
Wow.
not being a full-time student while teaching because I did a whole bunch of certification classes. I had to go back to school for some other stuff, and then now I've been in the grad school, and I'll have this 1 year gap before I like probably start my PhD program. It's my 1 year gap where I will actually only have my regular job to do without all this extra stuff. And I'm like, is this the year of the PlayStation?
There you go. There you go. That's great. Yeah, there's only one thing that is more dizzying than a pod race, and that is your schedule, Tyler. So, uh, good luck to you with all that stuff. But yeah,
Of course.
this looks amazing. I mean, the energy is amazing, the graphics, the different locations. Uh, it looks like a blast, and it's like it's been a long time since we've had something, I guess, in the Star Wars world, or it feels that way, that has been this kind of just pure fun. So
Mhm.
looking forward to it.
Absolutely. Now, I know you did not get a chance to read it yet because we just talked about this, but are you planning on purchasing the Jar Jar 1 comic from Marvel? Is that on your to-do list anytime soon to check out that Jar Jar comic?
I told you before, I think I'm just happy that it exists in canon, that there is a meeting between Jar Jar Binks and Kelleran Beck. So
Mhm.
I think I'm going to have to pick it up. If anything, as a conversation piece. So
I feel like there's levels of Star Wars fandom, right? Like of how deep some people want to go into it. I just want to come across another human, not someone like you where we meet all the time. We're like, hey, the new comic came out, or anyone in the Star Wars Newsnet sphere. But I just want to be just casually going up to someone and just ask them, like they're reading something. Oh, what are you reading? It's like, I'm checking out the Jar Jar comics. Like, I just want to meet someone in the wild that is reading Jar Jar content like that. Like that's what I genuinely want to see. Like I would love that more than anything else. There was actually one time where I was sitting next to someone on like a subway when I was on a trip. I was on the subway and they were reading a book review that I wrote for Star Wars Newsnet on their phone. And I saw because I was like, you hear yourself on the
oh,
subway and
cool.
you just see, I see a Star Wars image of someone's phone, you just kind of do one of these right there, like trying to look, a little inconspicuously. And I was sure enough, it was a book review. I was like, huh, that's pretty cool. It's a pretty cool little moment. But I would rather see someone reading the Jar Jar comic so we could have a Jar Jar discussion. That's what I would really want to see.
That would be an interesting discussion.
I
I'd
want
like
to
to have one
know.
of those myself.
Like, I want to know who these people are, but Jar Jar is reigns supreme forever. So this was an interesting. We passed on this at Star Wars Newsnet because I don't really think there's much to it. It was like the little production weekly saying, putting out there the Skeleton Crew season 2 is in quote unquote active development. Now that's not. I don't think if we're not reporting anything, I don't think there's anything there, nothing substantive. But it just made me wonder, Tom. I just want to ask you this. In a hypothetical world, like this is, we're here on YouTube, we're on Star Wars News Net Live, we're just have some fun. In a hypothetical world, how would you feel if, let's say, Ahsoka season 2 comes out, and then they say the next live action season of Star Wars on Disney Plus is Skeleton Crew season 2? How would you feel about that?
Well, I'll put it to you this way. I really like Skeleton Crew. I know I go against, I guess maybe how I know Miguel is not a big fan of it. I think that with you, I don't know if you're that on board with it. I really like Skeleton Crew because I felt like it was different. I felt like I like sometimes when um, I guess a live action show comes out that is really not tied to anything, but in that in universe, kind of like the same feeling with Visions and uh
Okay.
other projects like that where it's just they could go wherever they want to, and I really like it. I liked it. I think they did a really great job with it. I don't know, and I'm all there for season 2, but I don't know if that's the next project that I'd be excited to see. Like if they announced that as the next project, I don't know if I'd be, still exciting. It's more Star Wars content,
Like,
but
are you
I don't know if
dropping your
that's
phone? No, it really, really comes down to the next live action Star Wars project. Like, are you dropping what you're doing
right. I wouldn't
to
be dropping
read
that.
about it and figure things out and, text your friends that like Star Wars? Like, that's whatever the next Star Wars show has to be, or whatever it is. It has to be something where if I'm going about my day and I just see that headline or I get that update, I am dropping what I'm doing to pick up my phone and make sure I read through and look through as much as information as I can find, similar to
Yeah,
when, they dropped info on the Mandalorian back in the day. Like, oh my gosh, like, what is this? I'm trying to refresh my screen constantly to get tidbits
right.
on what is this going to be? Obi-Wan Kenobi obviously was a show whenever you got wind of like, okay, here's what's happening for Obi-Wan. It was, you got to figure that out right away. Like the next Star Wars show after Ahsoka, it needs to have that impact, especially with the new, leadership and everything going on at Disney right now.
Completely agree. Completely agree 100%. I still run in a circle of fandom from the OG days,
Of course.
and I'm, me, I've been around for a while. I guess the people that watch us, I'm very positive on everything. I see things the stuff I love. The stuff I don't love, even if I don't love it, I'm not going to be trashing things because to me,
Absolutely.
it's like Star Wars sometimes is like now with all the content we get, it's like sports. You're going to have things that you like and that happen, then things
Mhm.
that you don't like or whatever. It's like, I know that there's going to be peaks and valleys, right?
Of course.
But the crew that I've my brothers and friends that we've been around since the beginning, they're very jaded at this point. So
Hmm.
it takes a lot for me to get them excited. Look, I'm excited. The mole shows drop. I'm looking forward to that. They're like kind of meh at this point. I think they've been burned a lot.
Right.
So yeah, Skeleton Crew season 2 wouldn't be one of those projects that I'd go running to them saying, "Hey guys, this is coming out." I mean,
Skeleton
I'd be
Crew is
excited.
dropping, boys. Let's get the gang back together
Let's get
here.
the yeah. Like I
No,
know
I'm
the Ben
not.
Solo thing was like kind of, and I hate to talk about, but they're very jaded at this point. Like Star Wars needs a big, and
The hunt for Ben. The hunt for Ben.
yeah, that actually got some, the heads turning in that community, but um, yeah, like I'm super stoked for Starfighter, and they kind of like they're like, well, let's wait and see. But I can't wait. Ahsoka season 2, I'm like so looking forward to. But yeah, so I don't know. I wonder what they're going to announce and when they're going to announce it because I feel like, and we'll get into that as the show goes on. They've really been kind of quiet on on the announcement, you know, front.
Yeah.
So it's curious to see what happens. I mean, would I want season two of Skeleton Crew? Sure. I think there's more of that story to tell, but it's not going to be. It's not going to move the needle as far as I think for a lot of fandom.
Right. No. I do want to respond to that, but I just sorry. This is not funny at all, but it is though. I just thought of like my new favorite Star Wars meme that I want, or like thing that I want someone to create, someone way more talented than I am, or like this would be, I would love for Nate to do this if he's lurking in the chat. I'm just thinking of, Luke walking in and she's like, "Aren't you a little sore for a short trip?" He's like, I'm here with Ben, and just don't say Kenobi, but just here with Ben. Ben Kenobi? No. Ben Quadraneros. And then they go out and it's like, "You came in that thing? You're braver than I thought." And it's just Ben's pod race, Ben Quadranero's pod racer instead of the Falcon that's on the Death Star. Like, I don't know. Someone memeify that so I can have that in my personal meme canon. That's what I would enjoy for my Ben Quadranero's content. But as regards to Skeleton Crew, I do not need a season 2 of Skeleton Crew. I liked it fine. This is how I know. This is how, and not to put myself on a pedestal here, but you know me, I will wake up at the crack of dawn for any new Star Wars something. Like, I will be the first one to buy a new book if, most of the time. I will be the one championing most Star Wars things. I'm trying to find the positive. Like, I'll get up at 3 a.m. to watch Mandalorian episodes. If Ahsoka was on at 3 a.m., I would have got up to watch Ahsoka at 3 a.m. Like, I will, make the sacrifices that I feel like are necessary to appease or satisfy my Star Wars appetite. With Skeleton Crew, it's the only Star Wars show outside of Young Jedi Adventures that I was not just salivating for the next episode after I finished. Like, I was like, I cannot wait until next week's Skeleton Crew episode. Whenever the episode got there, as we kind of got further along, it felt more like I was just clocking in so I could talk about it for, our shows on Thursdays, or if I was doing a write-up or something. That's how I felt. And if I'm feeling that way, I'm like, I feel like I imagine like a general Star Wars audience is probably like even way less than that, because I'm usually one of the most hyped people for most things. And if I can't even get myself hyped up, then, the hype levels have to be pretty down. So if they were to say, let's say next December, or in November, Ahsoka is halfway through and they drop like the next, live action show is the Skeleton season 2, it'll probably be more of I look at my phone, I see the update and go instantly just kind of, all right, well, it's fine. And that's not me saying I like Skeleton Crew fine. It's just when we're talking about moving the needle, like that doesn't move the needle for me at all. That doesn't do anything for me. But again, we're just talking about speculation, hypotheticals here, so nothing crazy.
No, there are some projects, and especially when, after the Disney acquisition, that when it was announced that episode 7 was coming, I was like, I remember that also when Phantom Menace was announced, like when it was coming out, like I was like, just counting the minutes, like with Skeleton Crew, I felt the same way. I felt like it was better than I thought it was going to be. I need it? Not really, but I enjoyed it. But it wasn't like you said, after an episode ended, it wasn't like I was counting the minutes till the next one.
Yeah.
So
sure.
yeah, I it's strange now because you feel like you're like, well, Filoni is in charge now. What is he going to come out with?
Mm-hmm.
It's like the stuff that's going to be announced next has really probably been talked about for a while. So it's probably been on the radar, at least, especially the animated shows. They had a long, those take a long time to, produce and get out. That those are done like a year. We're seeing them like a year or two later after they start production on those. So it's like, yeah, I don't know if there's going to be anything, like I don't know what would excite me as much, outside of some of the things we geek out about. I would love to see an animated series of I keep going back to it, after Return of the Jedi with the main characters. I
Mm,
think animation would be a good place for that. I
easily.
think that would be a safe
I think
bet.
it's
And I
weird
think,
that we don't have anything with them in animation. That's kind of like a weird
yeah,
thing. But
I
you
think
mentioned, sorry,
I
go
would
ahead.
like that. No, no, I'm
So,
done. You
well,
go.
but you mentioned, things that are flying under the radar. Well, let's talk about something flying under the radar. Let's go ahead and move into our main discussion here because the Mandalorian and Grogu comes out in right now almost 98, but we're still at 99 days. Salute Club Force 99, salute Omega, salute Wrecker, salute Hunter, the whole crew, and 99 himself. But where is the hype for the Mandalorian and Grogu? It seems to be flying completely under the radar. We are less than 100 days out from the highly anticipated return to Star Wars in theaters in our eyes, but I'm not sure that the general audience, one, is aware of this movie, and two, Lucasfilm is that hyped for it as well. So we're going to talk about that, talk about all these things, Manuel and Grogu. But first, let's go ahead and dive into the spot from the Super Bowl, which was, I thought, a very cute commercial, very creative
Hmm.
commercial. But I want to say that it just felt like a really odd choice to make that your main advertising for this movie when you haven't really delivered anything on the story yet. You're under 100 days out and you're trying to get people genuinely excited for it. It feels like, hey, we're going to make Grogu super cute. We're going to put him out there. We're going to make you think, oh, that's sweet, and hope that that gets your butt in the seats. Like, I was surprised. I'll be honest, not shocked, but I was surprised they didn't follow up the spot with a trailer this week. Like, I genuinely thought that they were going to follow it up with a trailer this week to kind of say, hey, on Sunday, everyone in America's watching. Here we go. The Mandalorian and Grogu. This is a movie. If you haven't heard about it yet, now you have. And then boom, while that's fresh on people's minds, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, here is the trailer, the next trailer, the official trailer even for the movie. Give us more of the story, more of what we could expect, some little fun tidbits. And we got radio silence this week. And it feels like this marketing campaign, if you could call it that, is going to be one we look back on for a long time and wonder what the heck's going on here. As cute as it is, it feels like an odd way to kind of announce that this movie has arrived. And I mean, it is mid February and this movie comes out in 99 days.
I think they did an excellent job. No, I defend Lucasfilm. I've defended them high and low for so many things,
Mhm.
that people have just ranted about. This, I I am totally puzzled by this. I think it is such a missed opportunity. I think it was ridiculous that we didn't get a trailer or something with that ad. I know they were, kind of harkening back to, and I think you may be a little young for the old Budweiser Clydesdale commercials, and you probably heard that
No,
thrown
not at all.
around. Okay, so
I totally get the callback. I totally get the reference. Like,
right,
I thought it was a Budweiser commercial at first.
exactly,
When you
exactly. Which
hear
would
when you hear
it would have been
Cornelius' voice.
great. It would have been great if they then dropped the trailer or says it's online or had two spots, where they would have that kind of like as a, lead in, haha, a little, kind of
Trailer
nostalgic look.
online now at the end.
Yeah, at least that. I don't understand it because I feel like even Solo, which we all admit like years after in hindsight was not a great marketing push, especially coming out in the same year as one of the most anticipated Marvel movies.
Right.
And we have another anticipated one. And none of those movies that are coming out, there's a lot of big movies coming out this year. And you can correct me. I know he's had Disclosure Day, dropped a trailer. Trying to think if there's anything else, but none of the big movies, tentpole movies, I noticed had trailers during the Super Bowl. So it could have completely dominated
Hmm.
the and got into people's mind, hey, there's a Star Wars movie coming out this year. So how many Star Wars movies have there been? I think 11, right? You got the nine saga films and the two spin-offs.
12 if you
You know,
count Home Wars.
count if you count Clone Wars. That I don't really count it in this because where I'm going, but like this is the least. I don't want to say excited because I am excited. I really want to see this movie, but I feel like I don't have that same feeling of anticipation. And
Well, you know what the
and
problem
like you
is?
said, it's us. We're the guys that are supposed to be, shouting from the rooftops that we're excited about this and telling people about it. But like I feel the casual fan like still doesn't have an idea of what's coming out. Like, and they're like, well, oh, it's in theaters. Well, is it like the first episode of season 4 that's going to be played in theaters, and then we're going to have season 4? But no, this first movie since 2019. I just don't get it. I don't understand. And now, if
There's
you release the trailer, like people probably through word of mouth will hear about it. But you had this perfect opportunity that
Mhm.
you would have had this captive audience. The Super Bowl is watched by so many people. I just don't understand.
It's the puzzling thing is because so many individuals online that do follow Star Wars fairly closely, there were some people, and I'm not saying that people are stupid or anything, but I'm saying that people were genuinely uh confused on, is this something I saw so much, is this footage from the movie? Like, is this what it's gonna look
Yeah,
like? And people were confused. I never thought that because I kind of understood what they were going for. And I was like messaging online to some people who are freaking out. I'm like, guys, this is not footage from the movie. This is just a fun, creative, commercial they had to build up awareness for people that maybe had no idea this movie was coming out. Just a fun little, thing. And I think the disconnect for people is, if, for instance, this right here, this was an awareness booster ad, not an excitement hype booster. It was a bonus ad. And I kind of understand. In the moment, it's disappointing because we thought we were getting a trailer. It's coming soon. People forget about this. I 100% agree with all of that. It's kind of what I've been echoing. I thought it was cute. We'll have fun. I think the problem is Star Wars has disappointed a lot of people. And like you mentioned, your friends that feel a little jaded. I believe that part of the frustration with this is that, for better or worse, this is the first movie coming out since 2019, 6+ years here that since we've had a Star Wars film. And it feels genuinely like, if this was a movie coming out, in 5 years from now, after we've had a couple of Star Wars movies, then sure, have a little cute little ad to get people really excited. But it feels like this should be something special. This is their first movie in 7 years almost.
yeah,
And it feels like they don't really care too much about making it this big event that people need to come back to. And it feels like they're
right.
us like, hey, this just be a cute little movie. Come see it. It's kind of like just season 4, copy pasted, cut up a little bit. No worries if you miss it. That's how it feels
Yeah,
when this
yeah,
is out. I mean, not that it should be treated like the saga, but I mean, I was surprised that we know nothing. We know more about Starfighter than we do about the Mandalorian and Grogu, honestly,
yeah.
given
Well,
the timelines, just because they're very transparent about Starfighter. We have behind the scenes, images, they drop little things, and we don't know the story of Starfighter outside of the guesses of he's protecting the nephew who's force sensitive. We don't know the story of Mando and Grogu outside of they're on a mission for the New Republic and he's training his kid. And that movie comes out in 99 days. It's just,
so
it's
let me comment on the last on that post about that people will forget about it. Yes, they will. The problem is they're going to forget about it. No,
yep.
what I was going to say is that it's not so much that I was disappointed. It's just that you feel this like it's a missed opportunity because if you were to show that and then you have everyone's attention and then you drop the trailer because I'm sure that they have the trailer ready to go and they're going to be releasing it. But why
Yeah.
not do it when you have everyone's attention with all the eyes on the game that were, why not get all those people excited? Now you release a trailer, people are going to find out about it whenever they find out about it. You had that idea. So I'm a little bit worried about this movie. I'll be honest with you.
Mm.
Is it that there's so many twists that they don't want to share too much? They don't want to overshare. I don't mind as much that I don't know the story, but are there that many twists that maybe they're going to bring in, maybe show the Falcon or something that's going to get people really hyped and they want to save that. I get
Mm.
that. However, or the other thing too is it really that they don't, maybe it's not, I don't know. I'm thinking, maybe it's not
Well,
that good. Who knows?
some of it is the
They
Mandalorian
want to move
season
on.
3. I think some of the Mandalorian season 3 kind of did jade a lot of people because there
Yes.
is, and I think that I haven't rewatched it since it came out. So this is me kind of talking out of, the other side of my mouth here, but I feel like it's probably not as bad as it felt in the moment. But I think there were a lot of people out there that at the time are like, you know what, the saga, and this is not me, but the saga movies just completely pissed me off. They disappointed me. Like I hated The Last Jedi, and the Rise of Skywalker was even worse, or whatever. And maybe they didn't like this show or that show, but The Mandalorian season 1 and season 2 were just great, classic feeling Star Wars with new characters, new twists, but still bringing back enough of the old characters, enough of things that we're familiar with to feel nostalgic in the right ways. And this was like we were clinging to the Mandalorian. It was a global phenomenon, and then season 3 comes out and it said, man, it just wasn't the same anymore. And they are writing like it, I think if this movie was coming out like after season 2 and the story was very clearly going to be about them retaking Mandalore on the big screen, like that is an easily sellable movie, for why that needs to be on the big screen. But what we need is a reason why this is actually a movie other than the reason that everyone knows, which is we were forced to get one on the screen and we couldn't do it. So we asked Jon Favreau to come save the day, and he's going to do that. And we need a
Right.
reason other than that to get people, butts in the seats. The cuteness of Grogu is a powerful tool, a powerful weapon. It's a reason why a lot of people will go see the movie. That cannot be your only reason, and only marketing tool that you're relying on. You have to give people a story to get excited about, and they just have not done that at all. And for no apparent reason. Like, I know that marketing has changed so much in the year 2026 for movies now that you're not going to get a whole lot until closer to the time it comes out. Like, I totally get that. But this isn't, this is Star Wars. It's been 7 years almost since you have, by the time this comes out, it'll be about 6.5 years since your last movie. It's not like, you're coming off, it's not like Solo where you're 6 months removed from your Star Wars movie. It's completely different.
Yeah, and I like there was actually, guys, great comments by the way. I like that one that Ashton had about even Baby Yoda hype was, it was it kind of hit critical mass. And now I feel, I agree with that comment that they do need more to actually get people to the theaters to see it. Obviously, at the minimum, advertise the movie. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So
And like
it's
like he said too in the comments, he said he talked about it. Let me find it. He said he mentioned it to people at work, and he said, mentioned it to people at his work. They thought this was for the new season because, also what people don't realize is sometimes is if you drop the trailer in the Super Bowl or whatever, people might just assume it's for a new season of television because sometimes people aren't, they're socializing during the Super Bowl, but say full trailer online now, they know it's a movie, get them involved. That's the biggest problem with the original trailer they dropped is it doesn't feel like it just feels like another season of The Mandalorian. And I am not on, maximum threat level here, like Death Con 8 or whatever, but I'm starting to get very concerned because we are not seeing a push right now. There typically should be some buzz about a Star Wars movie.
yeah.
far out. It's so eerily similar right now to where it was when Solo came out, and I had to tell people I was excited for the Han Solo movie, and they're like, "There's a Han Solo movie coming out," and you should never have to do that with Star Wars. Like, you should never have to be like, "There's a Star Wars movie coming out." Yeah, uh, there is. It's the Mandalorian and Grogu.
Yeah, that used to be the main event, right? Like when it was a
Mhm.
Star Wars movie. And I'll go back. I said something before that I kind of Disney. I mean, Disney wants to sell this movie. They want people to go see it, whether
Are we
the way it
sure?
turned out was great or not. I don't think they're going to say, "Oh, we don't like. We're embarrassed by this. We're not going to really push it." They want, they want a return on their investment, obviously.
Do
But
they? Like,
I don't
do they?
know, but that's
Like,
that's
do they
anyone's
care?
guess at this point. That's anyone's guess at this point because it's just I just don't understand it, and I don't know what's going on behind the scenes. If they, I don't know, they're gonna have to really push hard for it. I don't know if they're waiting just to. Who
I mean, who
knows?
knows?
We'll
Maybe they
find out.
drop a absolutely killer trailer on Tuesday next week, and Monday, Tuesday comes around, killer trailer, and all we're talking about is that now, and we're good to go. But it is just, and it's gonna come out at any time. Like it's probably next week's Star Wars News Not Live. There's a good chance it's going to be, discussing the latest trailer for the Mandalorian. I think the overall problem is that we're still, sitting here and people don't even know that it's a movie. And when you're talking about, like you said, the biggest stage out there, this is the problem, is that they weren't necessarily delivering us a good reason for that. But we'll see. And I don't, with so many eyes on the Super Bowl, I don't necessarily think they need to drop the trailer, but I think something indicating when the trailer was coming, a brief look at, something for the movie, an announcement about the movie with, an announcement for when the trailer was happening, dropping the trailer online, and then just a quick shot of it. Something, needed to be done. But what do they need to do? Because obviously a trailer could be great. It could be the greatest trailer of all time, but that doesn't necessarily deliver hype for a movie. Where is the hype going to come from if people are going to get excited for this? So in my videos I make every morning, kind of talking about the countdown for the Mandalorian and Grogu, I do on TikTok every day. Like today was 99 days to the Mandalorian and Grogu. First day, we're in double digits. It's exciting. There are, some people that are always like, yes, excited, like Star Wars, let's go. And there's always, every week, there's a few people that are like, there's a Star Wars movie coming out. I'm like, the man, it's a movie, or this is going to be terrible. And I'm just really curious, for you, where does the hype come from? And then I do want to get to some of these comments because I have some thoughts.
Great comments, guys. By the way, yeah, some good chatter in the comment section. Yeah, and the last one that I guess, with all the problems plaguing the production of Solo 2, that hurt it as well because they really were in the hole with that movie. So, as far as I think I'm pretty confident that Mandalorian Grogu, because they make it. I don't know what they've done. Like I said, I haven't seen enough of it to know, but I know that the volume has really saved them money in the past. So I don't know if I don't know what the budget was. I forget if they announced that. But it's going to be
I
interesting.
saw, so they said this right here. So there was at least this, they didn't have to make this movie twice like they did with Solo. That thing needed like 500, 600 million to break even. So with the Mandalorian and Grogu, I don't know if this is confirmed, but I saw a number floating around of about 160 million. And I don't know if that's everything, like, including like some of the marketing budget that's going to be ramping up at some point, the $20 for the marketing budget that's out there right now. And sorry. But, with that being said, that kind of goes back to my original theory that this movie, I think 450 is actually the number. Like if they can hit 450, they're going to be pretty happy, I think. If it's like 450 to 5, I think they are thrilled. Like I think they're thrilled with
Right.
that. And
I
that's
it's
not
so
a
hard to
let's
say. That's not
I
Star, those aren't Star Wars numbers, right?
Right, but this is very different in terms of
Yeah.
straight a streaming a streaming show making its way onto the big screen. So I think that there will have to be some nuance in that conversation, because what's going to happen, let's say it makes 450 million. Exactly. And we get the budget and it's like, okay, they made money from this movie and it was a good test of what they can do. And they're like, you know what? We could actually probably make another one of these low cost, but create a bigger event around it, eventize it more, and we could probably make even more money off of another one. The problem is the nuanced conversation, because it's Star Wars fans and social media is going to be hard. They're going to look at like 450 and be like, lowest grossing Star Wars movie of all time or something like that. If it's, I don't remember what Solo ended up doing, but they're going to be like, lowest grossing Star Wars movie of all time. Mandalorian and Grogu makes less money than any Star, or, has less box office, than any other movie as the franchise's history. And that's going to be the headline. And then people are just going to see that and be like, oh, this movie sucks. And maybe whether it's good or not, they'll be, oh, that movie was a failure, which really, I think that they're probably pretty fine with that number. But again, that's going to be what I think the conversation's going to be centered around next June, late June, when we're probably talking about this thing not doing $750 million or more, like, you would expect of a Star Wars movie under normal circumstances.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like I said, we're talking about this. This is Star Wars is the blockbuster franchise. Where
Mhm.
it's just interesting that, yeah. I mean, there's so many things you can say. I don't want to really dive too much into judgment until after the movie comes out, as
Right.
far as what, I'm curious to see what it does. But this is right now how it's looking. It's looking pretty. I don't know if I'm going to have problems getting tickets opening day. We'll see. But it's
I will be purchasing mine in advance as always, because
oh,
I have to.
totally,
I like
totally.
to see
I'm
it at
at, of
a
course.
specific theater, at a specific seat in the theater. I'm very, very picky about all of that. Great comments tonight, guys. Appreciate it for hanging out in the live chat. Well, any final thoughts on Mando and Grogu, Tom, before we move on?
I'm rooting for this movie. I want it to do well. I'm looking. I'm not trying to, say that, hey, it's gonna bomb or this or that. I want to give it a chance, but I guess with me sometimes it's like sometimes I'm like, you could rant about anything. I don't know what they're doing as far as promoting this movie right now. Like, I don't know what their plan is, because it seems like it's just really I don't know. It's
It's
not doing
it's
the
plain.
job if they're trying to build the hype, and it's tough because even Solo, I remember, we keep comparing it to Solo. I think just because it had the baggage of being, a solo movie without Harrison Ford, that a lot of people out of the gate, as soon as it was announced, were
Mm-hmm.
like, we're not happy with it. So, and I feel the baggage that this movie has is that, this is just a TV show. It's like, we're used to seeing it on Disney Plus, episodically, and
I
so
honestly think that this movie is gonna be fine in terms of the quality of the movie. Like, I genuinely think I'm not
I
saying
think
it's
so
going to be
too.
the best movie ever or anything, but I genuinely think it's gonna be fine and people are gonna have a good time, come out of it,
Hmm.
excited. And there's gonna be, the Star Wars, the social media accounts that just love hating on everything to make a quick
Sure.
buck. But I think genuinely, like most people, if they just go in without like, I think that this is gonna be me. You know what? We're gonna segment into the final phase of the conversation tonight, and that is, what do we recommend right now? It's our new tradition here is recommendations and what we recommend. We have this. We could talk about non-Star Wars related things, and on this segment here, and I'm going to do that, but it's still kind of gear it towards Mando and Grogu. We'll be ending the show here in a few minutes, actually, guys, a little bit earlier than normal, just because Tom's got a hard cutoff tonight, and I have to get up in about 5 hours. So I need to get at least a little bit of sleep. But my recommendation is this. This is something that I would love to talk about. This has to do with Mando and Grogu. So much of I think the broader opinion based narratives for anything right now, so many people go into things with their pre-existing opinion based off of whether it's like a Rotten Tomatoes score, a YouTube video they watched, like before they go see the movie or before they go watch the show, they read what or watch what other people are saying about it. And that kind of word of mouth sometimes, a lot of times, is not genuine. It could be a little bit distorted and not like the true opinions out there. So just try to filter, I guess, my recommendation of where you get that information before you go and watch that. Like that was something I used to be guilty of is, oh, I'm going to see this movie. Like, let me check the Rotten Tomatoes score. Let me check the Metacritic score. Let me watch a quick, like non-spoiler review. And then I go in looking for certain things to nitpick about the movie, or, things that, oh, this person didn't like that. They didn't think this was good. Therefore, it's not good because I watched this. I think too many people do that nowadays. And so now what I do, if I even like, I'll see a trailer for something, if I decide after looking into the movie, seeing, the process of the movie, what's it about, who's in it, who directed it, the story, if I decide that I want to go see that, like, I'm not going to look at anything until I go. I might ask a couple friends, or if I just hear people talking about it, that's how I'm going to, take in information before I go see something, because that just to me is a much more authentic way of kind of is freeing myself almost from what social media and the online discourse could be about anything. And it's especially helpful for, different franchise things like that. And then, what am I recommending right now? I will recommend, I actually am wearing a Survivor t-shirt right now. I know that reality TV is ridiculous for a lot of people, but it's my favorite show of all time. Season 50 is around the corner and I'm terrified it's going to be terrible. But I am excited. But I am looking forward to the season as well. I apply every year for Survivor. Someday they will let me on. So maybe go watch the fun Survivor season. Check one out. That would be my recommendation for this week. And then I'm also reading. I started reading a book called Leadership Matters from John Maxwell. So I'm checking that out right now. We'll see if I gain any insight into that as I am advancing in my own leadership career. So those are the two things. And then I am looking forward to checking out Night of the Seven Kingdoms on HBO. I haven't watched it yet. I like this right here from RG. So I have to check out Shrinking, get some Harrison Ford content. Like I would love to do that. Oh my gosh, RG. Survivor fan. Oh my goodness, let's go. I've been making my on TikTok every few days now. I've been dropping my Survivor 50 hype ranking videos for the people from 24 to 1 of who I'm most excited to watch play. I dropped number 22, I believe, today. Yeah, I did today. Anyway, Tom, what would you recommend right now? Anything out there that you're into?
I will say this. I haven't really caught up with Survivor in a long time, but I was very serious about applying to like one of the early ones. So yeah, I don't know if I would have made it too far, but I'm always up for an adventure. So I will concur, Shrinking is good. I will say something a little bit maybe, I don't know, crazy take. I think it's some of Harrison Ford's best work ever. So I think that if you're a fan of his, which I am since I was 5 years old, um, he is phenomenal on that show. I know he had an Emmy nomination. I hope he can win one sometime with it. But yeah, he's amazing in that. One thing I will recommend, I kind of joined a film group that watching old movies and talking about them.
That's cool.
And I got to see The Deer Hunter, which I've never seen completely through. It's a movie from 1979, I believe. Phenomenal movie. It's not easy to watch though. It's a lot. But phenomenal classic movie. So if you are a cinephile and you want to watch some old movies from that era, which the 70s was an amazing era in films, I recommend it. But
I'll put it on the list.
It's a little bit intense. So
man, I need to get Apple TV Plus because Dark Matter is something I've heard about with Joel Edgerton. I've heard about it. I need to watch it. And I am I am wanting to do that. And then like Ted Lasso's on like Apple, and I've always wanted to watch Ted Lasso, but I've never gotten Apple TV. But I feel like Apple TV's got some bangers.
Oh, you know what you have to watch? You have to get like a trial and watch it. The Studio. It's
Okay.
hilarious, and it's great because it kind of dives into just the inner workings of a Hollywood studio. Obviously over the top and crazy, but it's so funny. I highly recommend it if you guys watch it. And also House of Vizsla, great name by the way. If you are rewatching Mando, Tyler and I are doing a Mando rewatch series that we're trying to get like a little more momentum going. But the first three episodes are out if you want to
Mhm.
check them out on the Star Wars News Net channel. So
Yes, Star Wars news that we call it. This is the replay, and we go through each episode of The Mandalorian as we're rewatching. We did the first three chapters. We'll do chapter 4 here very soon. I know we will. Once basketball season's over, Tom, we'll be able to crank them out like no other because I won't be so exhausted all the time during the work week. But yeah, be checking out. This is the replay. We also go check out the latest episode of the Timeline Show. We covered Young Jedi Adventure season 2, episodes 12 and 13. We could do a joined show, House of Vizsla. We could talk about all things Mandalorian, but also yeah, we're
crossover episode.
rewatching Rebels currently before Ahsoka season 2. I love that. But yeah, we got the Timeline Show episode 57 talking about Young Jedi Adventures. We're gonna be working through season 2 of Young Jedi Adventures over the next several episodes before we get back into the next level section of books and comics from the High Republic as we make our way through the Star Wars timeline. As always, every Thursday night, you can check us out here on Star Wars Newsnet Live, 10 o'clock Eastern time for, Tom and myself here talking all things Star Wars with occasionally Luke will pop in here, Miguel will pop in here, and whoever else from Star Wars News that we get on. Go follow me at TikTok, Star Wars Book Dude, for if you like Survivor, if you like Star Wars, and if you like movies. That's pretty much all I talk about exclusively out there right now. Check out Star Wars Newsnet for all your Star Wars news and updates as we cover everything and everything under the sun. Anything I missed, Tom?
I think you hit it all.
Well, we will see you next week. Was peak, Gannon. It still is peak. It still is. We can always reclaim the glory days. I actually really liked season 49. People didn't like it that much. We can go into a whole tangent about that, but I will save that for another day. 48 was but 49 I liked. Anyway, take care, everyone, for Light and Life. And remember, we are all trying to discover and find the inner hype within ourselves for The Mandalorian and Grogu.